Okay. Good evening, everyone. After a long time, we are back again for Organon discussion. I am Dr. Sanjay Solanke from Ambazogai, Central Maharashtra. And here is my colleague, Tikwa Sasun. Introduce yourself, Tikwa.
Hi, I'm Tikva coming to you from Israel.
And today we are on to Aphorism 24 and 25. Actually, it is 24, the last section of the earlier discussion. And after that, from 25 to 27, it begins the explanation of principles of homeopathy.
Yep, so in the previous aphorisms, Hahnemann has gone through the different ways that medicine may be used, that people have tried and how people are still trying. So he's saying that it remains therefore. So he's giving us all the proofs in the previous aphorisms to now. And then he says here in aphorism 24, there remains therefore no other mode of employing means using, medicines in disease that promises to be of service besides the homeopathic, by which means we seek, for the totality of the symptoms of the case of disease, a medicine which among all medicines, whose pathogenic effects are known from having been tested in healthy individuals, has the power and the tendency to produce an artificial morbid state most similar to that of the case of disease in question. So Hahnemann in previous aphorisms was telling us about using antipathic medicines, using, opposites, using same medicines and using other techniques that fall outside of same or equal. And he decided that through a lot of trial, I mean, he didn't just make this stuff up, that the best way to use medicine is to have the medicine that is proven in healthy humans to have the same symptoms that we need to cure disease in a sick person. And so it says here, whose pathogenic effects are known from having been tested in healthy individuals. That has to do with the proving, and that we know what the effects of the medicine are going to be from having had proved them properly. So we just match up the disease symptoms of the person with the known proving symptoms. And in that way, we cure the disease homeopathically. Now, homeo means similar. And pathy is like pathos, suffering, and or feeling. So it's the similar suffering, which is what homeopathy is all about, the law of similars. So we're looking for the medicine. Go ahead.
Yeah. In other words, we can say, when comparative to the other methods like isopathy or antipathy, here we can take conclusion that the way the homeopathy is based on, the way homeopathy treats with the medicines, the way they have been proven, their effects been known. The homeopathy is the only method that can cure the person completely, that has ability to cure person, individual completely, when the medicines which are used on law of similars.
Yeah, we see this when we look, if we compare modern medicine with homeopathy. let's say somebody goes and has blood work done, and the blood work shows that they have, that their thyroid is overactive. So what does the allopath do in modern medicine? They give a drug that blocks thyroid receptor, or they give other, or they sometimes, in severe cases, they take out the thyroid gland. So in homeopathy, what we do is we use a medicine that produces the same actual symptoms that the person who is having the hyperthyroidism, let's say hunger, heart palpitations, whatever their individual symptoms may be. And we give them medicine in potency, which is dynamic. And we don't have to keep giving medicine all the time in order to maintain that. We can actually produce a cure without any harm to the person, without any surgical intervention, without them having to take costly and damaging in other ways medications. So we really just actually get rid of the disease state. And the way that Hahnemann says that we get rid of disease state is interesting. He says it works by displacement, that the artificial disease, let's say we have disease, okay? Here's the person's disease, and then we displace it. We just remove it with something that matches, right? And I have a whole display of different things to do at another time with these Legos about picking symptoms that should be a lot of fun. Yeah, so we seek a medicine which effects are known by testing them in healthy people. And that makes it so that we know that it has the power to extinguish a disease by creating an artificial disease. That's what we're doing when we give homeopathic medicine to people, is we are creating an artificial disease that is most similar to the signs and symptoms of the person who has the disease. The similar medicine extinguishes and removes the natural disease.
Right. This is the end of actually the section which has been, we are explaining earlier. And from 25, 26, and 27, this aphorism will begin with the Hahnemann explains principles of homeopathy. He tries to bring out the principles of homeopathy. So, shall we continue with 25?
Actually, I wanted to go over a few of these big words.
Okay.
Like, for example, the word morbid. What does morbid mean?
Morbid is a disease or abnormal, or you can say, which is not normal.
Mm-hmm. And the root word of that is?
Which?
The root, the Latin root of morbid, the root of the word.
Mort. Root.
Mm-hmm. Mort.
Mort, like mortification?
Same word. Death.
Death.
Mm-hmm.
A morbid.
Yeah,
which is
used a lot of words over and over and over again. And if we don't know what these words mean, then we're going to be lost when we're going through our aphorisms and our organon and in our chronic diseases. And then we've got the great word phenomena.
Yeah, there is a word phenomena.
Mm-hmm.
Often he has used the word phenomena.
Oh, all the time. We hear morbid all the time. We hear phenomena all the time. We hear peculiar. We also hear symptom. People don't always know what a symptom is. Sometimes when people post cases, they post things that are not actual symptoms pertinent to the case, which they think are symptoms, but aren't going to help at all with solving the equation, with solving the puzzle. Every time we sit with somebody who needs our help, we're solving a puzzle. To be a homeopath is to be a puzzle solver. So phenomena is an occurrence or circumstances. It's the way things happen, or it's a fact, it's a situation, it's
combination of everything. It is combination of facts surrounding the things happening, the way they are coming up in the condition or situation. And it's not actually dependent on the criterias. It's just the way they happen. You
the way
don't
things
need
happen. Yeah.
And phenomena itself is proof. It doesn't need any explanation. These are the words actually spoken, written in some book. Which book? Whitman's. Edward's Whitman's. He writes the phenomena itself, the way it happens itself, it is a proof, and it doesn't need any explanation, or it doesn't need to prove that something is happening. Whether you are able to prove, show it the ways, or whether you are unable to show, it doesn't need anything. It's just the phenomena.
Yep. And then we have.
Can you give some examples?
Well, a phenomena is generally, related to symptoms. It's the way things show up. And a symptom, it can be a sensation, it can be where something is, it can be a modality, it can be the change in mood or behavior, it's an indication. All these things are just pieces of information and different words for it.
Exactly.
And then when we're looking at, go ahead. Sorry.
Continue.
I was just going to say that the word peculiar just means uncommon or unusual. And it could also just mean characteristic. It doesn't have to be truly strange. Like we ran across this recently, that somebody was only looking at the peculiarities instead of the characteristics. Characteristics are the way something shows in with character. That it has
specific significance for something. Significant of something. Characteristic is something which is specified for a certain character of something.
Yeah, for example, if something itches, or if it burns, those are two different characters of pain. You can have itching pain, you can have burning pain, you can have stabbing pain. All of these are characters. You know how people have their character? Everything else has a character too. And that makes it uncommon or unusual. And that's how we can use it as a modality. So let's say somebody says that they have pain in their ear and it's the right ear. Okay, let's say that this is somebody's disease. Okay, we're pretending this is the disease that somebody has, and they're going to tell us a few things. They say that they have pain in their ear, and then we ask what? Which ear? Okay, choose an ear. Right
Right
ear?
ear.
Okay, so we're going to put in right ear. Got a right ear. Okay, what does the pain feel like?
It's something, a vacuum type pulling sensation.
A pulling sensation. Okay, so then we put in the rubric for pulling sensation. So we have location, sensation. Now I'm going to ask you to tell me more about this pain in the ear.
Something it is associated with, you can say, uh, change in weather, or say cloudy weather or dampness.
Okay, so we might want to put in the rubric that damp weather aggravates. We might want to do that. These are just options. Is there anything else that you can tell me?
It may be associated with fullness in head.
Okay, so there might be a fullness in head. Now, what rubric might we use for that?
It can be just fullness in head.
Yeah, was there a specific rubric that you could think of that would cover that?
You can get the rubric, means head pain, sorry, ear pain with fullness in head or something like that. We don't know actually. We need to find. Actually, nothing is in the head to just, I don't have everything in the head. I can just imagine things and I can try to construct the rubrics.
Okay, so we're
So,
going to have
so we can look at the ear pain along with association of head, or head association with ear.
yeah, we have to decide which one's more, but it really doesn't matter in a lot of repertories. Okay, so we're going to add a rubric for fullness in the head, stuffiness in the head. And then if we pick a medicine that has all four of these things, location, sensation, time, and concomitant, then we have completely covered our acute case and we know it's going to cure. We know it. It's a mathematical fact that we have covered it. But if we don't use the right rubric for the fullness in the head, we might get something like this. It doesn't quite cover it.
A
Or
partial one.
maybe, yeah, but it's probably going to work still because it's an acute. Or maybe we'll have something that also doesn't quite fit right. And it might give an accessory symptom. So that's an easy way to kind of look at building a case. That's just kind of like filling in an area. And then let's say if somebody is doing their case taking and the person says, you know, I'm really artistic. And then they try to add that into their case, which people do. I see it all the time. It has no relevance to the situation at hand. So look, we've got this size, this shape, okay? And we're going to try to fit it. And guess what? It has no purpose. It literally has no purpose here that the person's artistic. It has nothing at all to do with their earache. Okay? Or what if we say that they have an aptitude for math? Whoa, we've got another one of these. We've got an aptitude for math. We're trying to put in the ear pain and nothing's happening. It doesn't stick at all because it's pointless. So we've got two pointless things that people are trying to put in their case instead of sticking to the facts, because this has no relevance to what we're trying to do. Therefore, it's not working. So we have to stick to the facts, make sure that we have concrete information, and stick to the actual situation at hand.
Right.
Because there's absolutely nothing morbid about being artistic, and there's nothing morbid about having an aptitude for math. These are just simple character traits that wouldn't have any relevance whatsoever in a disease.
Okay.
Only time that that might have relevance in any kind of disease would be, let's say, if after a head injury, somebody suddenly is able to play the piano brilliantly or something, you know, but these are not our everyday work. So I hope that that explanation was of some interest.
Yeah, it was fun. And we see homeopathy has, when you know the symptoms of the drug, when you know the disease perfectly, when you know what is to be cured, and when we know the proving data of the drug, and when you match these symptoms, it will cure. It is the only way to, what you say, to represent disease or to understand disease. Only mean is signs and symptoms. And it is only way to understand remedy is signs and symptoms. And it is only thing that are curable, signs and symptoms. Nothing else. This is the homeopathy. And homeopathy is only way which has ability to cure with well-proven medicines, any sort of disease. You should know everything, the disease, the medicines, the obstacles, the selection of potency, the stages where the medicines we have to use. So Hahnemann says homeopathy is only a system, a medical faculty that can do a lot more than the other medicinal system present in that time and even at present time. Right?
Yeah, even at present time, we have
And
an
even in the,
healing methodology.
yeah. Now we can move on to aphorism 25.
Okay.
And I could like to tell these three aphorisms. Hahnemann brings forward the principles of homeopathy. Aphorism number 25, 26, and 27. It is always good to read all those three together for
Would you
better
like to do that?
understanding.
Would you like to start that next week?
Yeah, it could be better to do all three, but you know, these are very large aphorisms. So I don't think that could be complete in the one session.
Well, if you say that they're a unit or they go together, then we should do them all together at once.
No, it is just an idea. Anyone haven't wrote, I want to write aphorism 5, this much only. I want to write 526, this much only. He just wrote things the way he thought things.
They go in groupings. They really do. There's the things relating to case taking. There's the things relating to provings. There's the things relating to how the medicine works. They're all in little groups.
Yeah, everything is little group. And now, up till now, he has told, yeah, means he talk about symptoms, he talk about medicine, the way they present, he talks about systems, different methods, and now he tried to explain the principles of homeopathy, means the rules on the like law of similar, how like that, the basic. Okay,
We're going to be going to careful trials and pure experience.
exactly. Every inference Hahnemann had wrote is on his practical experiences. Is nothing is interpreted or and right.
Yeah, never, never. Hahnemann was extremely careful and fact-based.
And here he also writes, now, however, in all the careful trials, pure experiences, and these pure experiences, he explains in the footnote of this.
Yeah, he says that
Can
it's
you
not
continue?
hypothetic. Hmm?
Can you continue footnote first before we continue with the aphorism?
Oh, you want to do the footnote first? Okay. I do not mean the sort of experience by which the ordinary practitioners of the old school boast. Old school means allopathy. After they have
Whenever we see the word old school in this literature of Hahnemann, the old school means the allopathy, which was being practiced even before means Hahnemann discovered or uh, homeopathy. He himself was allopath. So he used this word for old school practitioners means allopath. Old school means allopathy. Okay, continue.
Okay, the practitioners of the old school boast that they have for years worked away with a lot of complex prescriptions on a number of diseases which they never carefully investigated, but which, faithful to the tenets of their school, they considered as already described in works of systemic pathology.
Pathology.
And dreamed that they could detect in them some imaginary morbific matter or ascribe to them some other hypothetical internal abnormality. They always saw something in them, but knew not what it was they saw. And they got results from the complex forces acting on an unknown object that no human being, but only a God, could have unraveled. Results from which nothing can be learned, no experience gained. 50 years of experience of this sort is like 50 years of looking into a kaleidoscope filled with unknown colored objects and perpetually turning round thousands of ever-changing figures and no accounting for them. Ooh, Hahnemann uses
It
art.
just wandering in the open space with no directions.
Yeah, Hahnemann was the master of the rebuke. He was indeed. Yeah, so he's saying here that, you know, all the different imaginary things that they think might be happening, this, that, or the other, you know, don't compare to the concrete symptoms, right? Okay, so here we have this case again. Okay, where we have that ear pain, right? The allopath says, oh, it's ear pain. Antibiotics. It doesn't quite fit, and it kills a lot of everything else. And it's way, way heavy. So
Yeah,
this
collateral.
this is really hard on the organism, the antibiotic, because you know you have bacteria and viruses and fungi all inside and outside of your body, billions and trillions of them, and a lot of them we need for our health and well-being. So when the antibiotic comes in, crash, the person's like, whoa, and they have to recover from the antibiotic given for their ear pain instead of the very simple and gentle treatment of it's the right ear. The pain is pulling outward. It's worse in damp weather. And there's a fullness in the head that goes with it. This way we have easily and completely solved all aspects, because, you know, even when there's the antibiotic crash onto the person, they say,
The whole
well,
body.
you know, then you're going to get a fungal infection from taking the antibiotic, particularly if you're a woman. So then we're going to need a fungicide.
Then
That's
you
not
can put a big ball. Then you can put a big ball over that.
And then, you know, we're still not addressing the pain yet. So we have to have what do we call it? The paracetamol. How do we call it in India? We call it Acamol here. We call it Tylenol in America. So you have to do a whole bunch of different things.
Paracetamol?
Yeah. What's that called? It starts with an A, you call it. What is it? People always say about how their patients come in and they already had this. They take it at home and then you don't know the symptoms. What's it called again?
Paracetamol?
Yeah. What's the term that people use
Crocin.
for it? Crocin.
Crocin?
Yes. And the patient comes in and they've been taking crocin. And so you just say, continue with the crocin. Take the crocin every 3.5 hours, right? So we're having a lot of crocin. We're having maybe a decongestant. We might end up with a fungal infection. We might even get leaky gut syndrome from doing all these activities. It's just not as good as just filling out the thing nicely without any harm. And that is what a homeopath does. There is no one size fits all treatment for anything. We have to suit the treatment to the facts that the patient has displayed for us. There's no guesswork, absolutely no guesswork involved.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
however, in all careful trials, pure experience, the soul in infallible oracle of the healing art teaches us that actually that medicine which, in its action on the healthy human body, has demonstrated its power of producing the greatest number of symptoms similar to those observable in the case of disease under treatment. It does also in doses of suitable potency and attenuation. Rapidly, radically, and permanently remove the totality of the symptoms of this morbid state. That is to say, aphorisms 6 through 16, the whole disease present and change it into health, and that all medicines cure, without exception, those diseases whose symptoms most nearly resemble their own and leave none of them uncured. Okay, so that's a big mouthful of a paragraph, but it has very easy explanation for what that means, that the provings teach us the symptoms of what each medicine can cure. And the medicine chosen with the most similarity to the disease in the proper potency and dosing and attenuation will cure those diseases most resembling each individual disease state. Now, when we come to an acute disease, this is extremely straightforward, just like how we went through it with this little Lego. You know, when we have a complex disease state that is chronic, it's a little more complicated, and we're going to get some things that sit a little bit outside, and we might pick up, and we might need to apply a few different medicines because we're not going to have exact overlap as easily as with an acute. But we're still going to be able to cover most things most of the time. Because whenever we don't have a complete match, we have a possibility that we're going to need to use another medicine.
Nearly close. Nearly close.
We need to get close enough, and then that way the medicine will work, but it might lead us to a new medicine. And every once in a while, there might even be a gap, but we want to get as close to coverage as possible in a chronic. But either way, this whole formula stands true that the proving symptoms show us what is curable with that medicine. And then the person shows us what they need cured. That makes sense, guys?
Yeah. This is what. And if you look into aphorism number 26, it begins with this depends on. This depends on. What is this? This means what is this?
The cure?
Yeah. Means the way the homeopathy cures, the way homeopathy works with, means the way it produces the symptoms, those, it produces the symptoms which can be cured in the natural diseases.
Yep. We're looking for
And
similarity.
everything this depends on the following homeopathic law of nature.
Like cures like. Ah.
So next time we will begin with this 26.
Okay, great.
Right?
Yep. And then we have Rosh Hashanah.
Hmm?
Then it comes up into the fall holidays for us. Okay, so I should probably stop the recording. Thank you, people who have watched. Always nice to have people watch, like, and subscribe, of course.
Is that